Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Myself Gautam recently joined Amazon as a system development engineer, and if you have been following my channel previously, then in that case you must be knowing that I worked at State Street as a AML research and software engineer. So in this video I'm going to share the complete roadmap on what I did to get into Amazon, and also I had few other offers before joining Amazon. So what are the strategies that I focused on in the past 3 months to make this transition, and I will tell you each and every step that you have to follow so that it will be helpful for you also in the job switch journey. Okay, so let's get started with this video. So this video is for people who are less than 4 years of experience. Anyways, the strategies that I'm going to tell might also help people with more experience, but this is primarily focused on people with less than 4 years of experience. So if you want to move from some service-based companies like TCS, Wipro to some kind of a product-based company, or if you want to get into some kind of niche roles like AI, ML, Web3, blockchain, then in that case it will be a perfect video for you to follow up. So let's get started now. So the first step is to be well prepared for an interview. For example, you are getting an interview call from one of the top companies or any conventional one, you should be never in a position to lose that opportunity. I personally have attended many interviews when I was not completely prepared and seeing a lot of opportunities. So that should not be the case with you. So if you are prepared for some kind of a software development engineer role, then in that case you have to be very good at data structures, algorithms, system design, high level design and low level design, then computer science subjects. So with data structures and algorithms, if you are going to attend some conventional ones, then they are going to ask you mostly on arrays. Then if it is something specific to Python, they are going to ask you about dictionaries, keys, all that. And mostly they won't go beyond linked list, and at most they might go to trees. That too not too technical to ask you about the time complexity, all that. But it's going to be a top fan kind of a company, then they are going to ask you about dynamic programming, then they are going to ask you about graphs, all the different patterns in the graph, anything they might ask, time complexity and space complexity as well. So it is very important that you are preparing data structures and algorithms very well and detailed. Next is you have to prepare system design, which is a combination of high level design and low level design. The next thing is you have to prepare computer science subjects like computer networks, operating systems and database management systems. So with database management systems, the most important thing is you have to be well clear with the SQLs and the different file organization techniques that are available, B plus trees, what are those things, you have to learn those things. The next thing that you have is computer networks. This subject you have to learn only sequentially, only then you will have the clear cut idea on how to prepare for it, because you have to be very clear about what is IPv4, IPv6, what is subnetting, all that first. Only then you can move to DHCP, NAT, all those concepts, so that you will have a continuity. So I would suggest you to take some resources that will have a continuity rather than looking at some question banks and preparing for this interview. The next thing is you have operating systems. These operating systems, they might not ask you a direct question, but there might be some indirect question that is leading you to include an answer from operating system. For example, you are talking about some kind of a memory, and suddenly you have to talk about virtual memory and what it is, then it's an operating system concept, then you have to talk about that as well. Also, if you have to be very familiar with the file systems, different file systems, what are all available, how the partitions are happening within the memory, then it is very important that you learn the complete operating systems as well. It's mostly enough if you are going to prepare from any kind of question banks. Okay, so that is all about the software development engineer roles if you have to be prepared for. And I would suggest you to take some 3 or 4 months time before you are starting to apply and prepare for these interviews very well. And whenever an interview comes in, you should be only taking some 2 or 3 days time to revise the complete subject, so that it's easier for you to attend the interview. So that is the thing with interviews. I hope this helps you, and let's move on to the next one. Next, let's talk about resume preparation. So first of all, be very familiar about what are the roles that you are going to target. So let me tell you what I personally did, and I think that will also work for most of the people here. So I basically started targeting on two different roles. One is software developer role, another one is the AI engineer role. Working in AI projects, and so I also had experience with backend development and machine learning activities. That is the reason I am telling AI here. So you can replace it with any other niche technologies if you would want to add there. Okay. So with respect to software engineering roles, I was not very specific about the tech stack because I want to learn different tech stacks and have experience over them. So that is the reason I did not put up any limitations on that. I was focusing on either a full stack developer role or a backend development role. Anything is fine for me. So these are all the two roles that I basically started focusing on. And how did I prepare my resumes to these three roles? So I basically had three different resumes. The first resume is the Pirate King resume, that is very familiar and available on the internet. And the second one is the Deedy CV resume. I would call this as a fan favorite resume. The third one is some kind of a general template. I will put all these resumes on the screen while you are seeing this video. So you'll have a very clear idea on which is the template that I'm talking about. On the description, I will also give you the link to these templates so that it's easier for you to actually start using this resume templates to prepare your resume and start applying to companies. So now let me talk about each and every resume one by one. So I'm pretty sure that you must have watched most of the videos on YouTube on how to prepare resumes, what to do, everything, right? So today in this video, let's see how I personally prepared these 3 resumes. So the first resume is the Pirate King resume. So with this resume, I primarily used it to apply on online platforms like Naukri, Instahyre, all that. Basically, we don't know what is the background of the recruiter. So I have prepared this resume in such a way, it is a combination of both a software engineer and an AI engineer resume, so that it attracts most of the job roles in that specific application, either it's Naukri, Instahyre, whatever it is. Okay. So how did I craft this resume? Under the experience section, it is very important that you have to look up to put some kind of a quantified point. Application tracking system only understands quantified points. Since it is going to some kind of online platforms, it is very necessary that you have to explain the work experience along with this quantified points as well. So when I have to talk about this work experience, we don't know what is the background of the recruiter he is looking for and what is the role that. So in that case, you have to look up to each and every line that you are crafting in your resume, so that the number of lines in the resume is not far, because you have to keep the resume within 1 page limit. Also, every resume, each and every experience line should not exceed more than 2 lines. So it should be very concise and precise for the recruiter to understand your experience. Also, the structure of the resume is very much important because it helps the recruiter being attentive towards the specific resume. So that is how I crafted my first resume. You have to keep the points very concise. You have to explain the experience section of the points along with quantified points. For example, if you are writing some 4 points under the experience section, then in that case, each point should not be more than 2 lines. And also it should be both quantified. Also, it should be in a way that it explains the work that you have been doing. Okay. So that is how I crafted this first resume, and this is a resume which goes into some online platforms and never gets changed for the whole time, which means I'm not going to modify the content of the resume, but I will keep re-uploading the same resume into these platforms, so that these platforms are always tracking the last update status and it knows that I'm very actively looking for this job. Okay, that is how I crafted this first resume called as Pirate King resume. Let's move on to the next resume. So the next resume is Deedy CV. So this resume is very famous among the fan companies because most people on YouTube have shared their experience that using this resume they were able to get into the top companies. So while preparing this Deedy resume, I would suggest you to use it only for fan companies, because most of the other job platforms, when I personally applied, this is my personal experience, I haven't got a call back from them. But with this resume, I received a call from Google as well, because I believe the structure of the resume, I followed everything that they told in their YouTube video. So how do you have to craft this Deedy CV resume is that you have to get into each and every company's page. For example, if you are targeting fan companies like Meta, Google, or Amazon, then in that case, get into their YouTube section, and there will be videos about their recruiters talking about how to actually prepare the resume. Sometimes you might feel like, how will this actually work like? Because the things that they tell doesn't feel like actually putting your experience, rather than you're just blabbering on the resume. That's completely okay. It's very much important that these ATS systems only looks for the impact that you created rather than the work that you have done. Okay, so in that case, you have to get into each of these YouTube channels of those companies and look at their YouTube videos and see. Most people will be telling the structure of the resume to follow up. What are all the things? Exactly follow the structure. For example, if you take some Google video, they will be telling that first talk about the root cause, then talk about the impact. There is some specific formula that they have mentioned, and I followed the exact same thing, and the resume also got into the company and I received a call from the recruiter. So that is the thing with Deedy CV. You have to put quantified points in Deedy CV resume. And so this one, you're basically only going to use it for fan kind of company. So I basically targeted on only software development engineer role for this specific fan kind of companies, because we don't know how hard or how what is the interview procedure exactly for data science and machine learning engineering roles. So that is the reason I only targeted for SDE roles. And mostly one resume that I created for one of the company SDE was able to get an interview call from different fan companies as well. So this Deedy CV can be used in this following way. Let me summarize things. So you have to get into the YouTube section of those companies, look at all those videos. You have to understand what they're exactly telling. I can explain you each and everything here, but the video will go very long. but also each and every company have a different kind of suggestion that they are suggesting based on their ATS system that is present inside. Okay, so be familiar with the resume creation process for each companies and start preparing this resume. Once you create this resume, then you don't have to make any changes mostly, because the SD roles are more or less going to be the same. When you are less than 2 years of experience, the expectation is not very high as well. So that is what you have to do with this Deedy CV resume. The next thing is, so the next resume is the general template that is very famous among everyone. I will put the template in here, and I will also give you a link on the description for the specific template. So this specific template I actually targeted to apply on different career portals of different companies. So I would be modifying this resume as per the description of the job that is mentioned on the career portals. And I have basically created two resumes. One is the AML engineer role resume, and another one is the software development engineer role resume with the specific template. And whenever I see a AML kind of a role that I wanted to apply, I will use this resume. And if I wanted to use the other one, vice versa, the same process. Okay, so what I have to do is I have to edit the job description, and I have to update my resume with this specific job description, then put all the contact details into this resume, and then upload this resume onto the job platform. Job platform in the sense, I mean the actual career sites of any specific companies, and then I will further proceed ahead to see if I am getting an interview call. So that is what I basically do. And with respect to the platform which I used for editing, the platform that I used for editing is Google Docs. So why I prefer Google Docs is because it is very easy when you wanted to edit and download it. For example, you can just go modify the resume right away on the Google Docs and download it as a PDF, rather than actually having to go write some latex code on the overleaf site, all that. So I would basically prefer a Google Docs kind of a resume template. You can follow up with the same kind of things if you are actually preparing a resume, and I think this strategy will basically work. And how do you actually evaluate these resumes? So before uploading somewhere, go to these platforms like ResumeWorded. I am not talking about the premium subscription of the platforms. Of course, they might be better, but I personally did not pick any premium subscription for this. I use this ResumeWorded software. Even a full stop that is missing out on the end of the statement is being told to us, so that we can go ahead and make that change on the resume. So what you can basically do is upload the resume, look at all the comments displayed there in the free version itself, and modify those changes and re-upload them to check the score if it is in a very decent level. Also, there is another platform called as Naukri Resume Checker, Score Checker. So that platform is also very helpful in order to prepare your resume and evaluate the total score of the resume. Make sure the resume score is very good, because there are going to be lots of applicants and your resume has to stand out among them. So it is definitely competitive and you have to prepare your resume. Of course, taking an effort for preparing your resume is very much important, is what I would suggest. Let me talk about each and every job platform available on the internet that helps you actually apply for a job and gets you an interview call. So there are platforms, Naukri, LinkedIn, everything. Let me start with Naukri first. So with respect to Naukri, there are 50 application limit if you don't have a subscription to premium. The premium costs around 3,500 rupees, excluding the resume checker. I don't think there is a need for the resume preparation plan that you have to include with your premium. So without that, it takes some 3,500 rupees for 3 months, I believe. So you have to take that subscription. I would suggest you to take that because it's actually worth it, is what I would say. Then after taking the subscription, you will be getting 150 limit. Every day, go to the platform, exhaust this 150 limit. So that what happens is, out of these 150 applications, there are chances that in a week's time, you will be applying for somewhere around 700 to 800,000 applications per week. After some time, you will see that there are not enough job postings as well. But out of this 1000 or 700 applications, you might receive some 5 or 6 company calls in every week. That is the actual way that how you can increase the number of interview calls for an interview. So when it comes to Naukri, every day you have to prepare and upload your resume, which means you can download the same resume and upload it again and again, so that the application thinks that you are very actively looking for the job, and whenever a recruiter comes and search for this application, then it is showing your name on the top for him to look at your profile. So you have to be very active on this platform by logging into it every day and searching for some jobs, all that. And one more thing is, when you are going to search for a job, don't be very blunt, because what happens is, you might see a lot of video on internet stating how to prepare your profile. Yeah, of course, you have to put a lot of keywords on your resume, on your profile, to get a lot of job traction, but still that is understood. When you are actually going to apply for some jobs, you have to use this filter option very effectively. For example, if you are from some kind of a city that is not primarily focused on IT, something like Chennai or some other city out of IT, then it is very much suggested that you also add location preference as Bangalore or Hyderabad, because these areas have lots and lots of opportunities than the cities like Chennai. So what happens is, once you add these cities to your location filter, you will see all the job postings. Also, while searching for a specific job role, so I was looking for a software development role, right? So I searched it as software development, Python developer, because I was working on Python as well. Then I searched for AML engineer. Then I searched for SDE. So the recruiter might have posted the job application on any name. It could be software engineer, developer, software, SDE, anything, right? So you shouldn't miss anything. So that is the reason I'm telling you to put all those keywords and start searching and start applying. Also, go industry wise. For example, in the filter section, you can filter it based on the product based companies. Next, you can go to the telecom companies. Next, you can move to financial companies, all that. So industry wise, go ahead and find out some good companies and start applying there. Also, in the same job profile, you can go to the bottom of the profile to see the average salary. This is not available for every company, but for most companies it is mentioned. So if the average salary bracket that is mentioned in that area, if seems to be your expectation, then in that case it's well and good that you can continue proceeding to apply for the specific job role. Okay, you will also get complete notification on how is the specific status of the job. For example, if someone has viewed your application, then you will be getting the notification. If someone has looked at your contact details, you will be getting a notification. So once you start getting these notifications, go ahead to levels.fyi or go to Glassdoor, all those websites, to look at the compensation details to see how much they are offering and have a very clear idea on what to ask to the HR. So that way you will be very confident about the interview process even before it starts. Also, it's very sure that you will basically land up an interview. So landing up an interview is what I could suggest for. Then everything goes on by how you are actually preparing for the interview, all that, right? So the next application is Instahyre. So in this application, you are going to upload this Pirate King resume or any resume that you would want. Once you apply this resume, there is something called as an Insta score that is calculated by this application. What it actually does is, it recommends a set of job applications that is very closely relevant to your actual resume that you have uploaded. So whenever you see those recommended applications, I would suggest only apply to them. When you apply to them, if the Insta score is very close to the resume, there is a high chance that you will be displayed on the top for the recruiter to look at your profile. So there is also an option to go ahead and search for a specific job role, and you can specify things like location, all that. But if there is an opening available and still the Insta score is less, there is a very less chance that these platforms are going to show you on the top, and there is a very less chance that a recruiter is going to call you as well. So I personally have seen a lot of startup companies using these platforms like Instahyre to hire candidates. Also, some product based companies, even top companies like Amazon, seems to look at these particular job profiles, because I have been receiving notifications there that the specific company from the specific recruiter has looked at your profile. So I'm telling all this based on that. So keep updating this resume very frequently and look at their recommendation section and apply to them. And look at their recommendation section and start applying to those jobs, so that there is a high chance that you will land up an interview at Instahyre. So the next platform is LinkedIn. So I personally, what I have been doing is, I have been using this easy apply button on LinkedIn. What happens is, I've made 900 to 1000 applications on LinkedIn by applying on LinkedIn with easy apply button. There are people on internet telling you have to send messages to different people, request for referral, all that. But basically what happens is, LinkedIn has a limit of 10 invites, and recently they reduced it to 5. And with premium subscription, they are focusing on people to make it higher, so that people will take this premium subscription and send out invites for referrals. So when sending a referral, you don't even know if the specific user is actually active on LinkedIn or all that. So I personally experienced using all those 10 different invites and still not even receiving one response. That's so frustrating, and I understand that situation. So what I did is, if I'm looking for a referral from a specific company, what I would do is, I would use platforms like Signalhire to find out the details of the recruiter, like contact details, phone number, all that. Still, these platforms like Signalhire has some payment that you have to do. I think that's pretty huge, which I didn't take. Still, you have some decent number of profiles that you can look at with their free plan itself. Okay, so that is one way. The second thing is, what you can do is, if I want to get into some kind of a company, for example, assume if I want to get into Meta, so I can go ahead and search technical recruiter at Meta, and there would be a lot of platforms coming. So usually these fan recruiters will have lots and lots of followers, because so that what happens is whatever the message that they will basically ignore it. It is very practical to understand that they would be getting a lots and lots of messages. They can't be going into each and everyone's profile, responding to their profiles, right? So what you can basically do is first go to their profile, see if the number of counts and the followers is also not very high. Second thing is go to their post comment sections and see how they are actually, how is their activity on LinkedIn. So if the activity on their LinkedIn is very subtle and not very high, then in that case the chances that you might not receive a response. But if you see some him posting regularly on LinkedIn, then there is a high chance that this person is actually actively using LinkedIn. So what you can do is send them a connection request. Don't send an invite, because this invites you are going to lose a number of invite, and also you are going to, there is no chance that 100% sure that this guy is going to reply. So once you send a connection request, then go to the bottom, you will see something called as people you may know. So the people from the same companies will be listed there who are technical recruiters. Send a connection request. So do it for somewhere around 10 to 15 people. After some days, what happens is, some days, maybe 2 or 3 days, you will start getting notifications that the specific recruiter has actually accepted your connection request, which means there is a high chance that this person might give you a referral, maybe open to respond to your messages. Now you at least have a assurance that this person is going to respond to your messages, right? But before, with sending those invites, after paying this premium subscription, all that, it is not even sure if that guy is going to actually respond back. Now what you can do is, you can basically look at the profile, and if you wanted to text them, you can just text them asking for a job referral, which is not going to reduce the number of invite limitations that you are having. So this is the method that I would suggest with LinkedIn. Also, what happens is, over a period of time, you will see some out of 15 people, you will see some 8 to 9 people accepting the job, accepting your connection. Your followers are going to be very concentrated on the recruiters, right? So what will happen basically is, you will start seeing a lot of job posts that they are making on the LinkedIn in your timeline, on your newsfeed, whatever it is, timeline or newsfeed, whatever it is, you are going to see the lot of job posts that is being posted by them. So you will always be in touch with the different job roles and posts available on different companies by actually having those connection requests active with the recruiters, right? So this is the strategy that I would suggest you. Also, I don't find it very meaningful to have a LinkedIn premium subscription at this point. That is my personal opinion. I understand there are maybe one thing which was attractive with the premium subscription was that when you get into some company's portal, you can actually look at how long a specific employee stays in the specific company, which would basically help us understand the integrity and the work culture of the company. But I don't see it as a huge thing where you have to spend for some 100 rupees or 1500 rupees for a simple LinkedIn subscription. I feel that is useless. It's my personal opinion. If you still wanted to take up a subscription, it's up to you. Take up the subscription and start getting interview calls. So the next platform that I'm going to talk about is FishBowl. This app is very, very underrated. So using this app, I received lots and lots of referrals from all the top companies. I got the referrals, but at that time I was very much in the beginner stage. I didn't even know how to actually craft a resume. So that is the reason, even though after getting a referral, I didn't get into these companies. So don't make that mistakes. Prepare your resume well and ask for a referral. Okay. So this platform is basically very underrated, is what I would say. This is something like an anonymous platform. For example, you can use your company's mail ID, open an account on this, and you will go into there are different bowls. Okay. There is something called as a company bowl, and there are something called as different other bowls that are available, where the titles and the topics that you are going to discuss within the bowls are different, right? So within those bowls, you can talk about, filter things about promotions, salary increments, hikes, all that. Okay. So this is a platform. When you post something on the platform, you are completely anonymous. No one is going to know who's this. And when someone is going to comment there, you are not going to basically know who's that person actually commented there as. So there are platforms like FishBowl, Grapevine, all that you can use it. So how do you use this platform efficiently? Okay. Now that you have created an account, I'm assuming you have created an account. Now go to the search. For example, you wanted to get a referral from Google. Go type Google refer. So you will see lots and lots of threads there, just like your Twitter. What happens is, you will see lots and lots of threads, people asking referrals at Google and all those companies. So at least I believe there will be some 10 or 12 people requesting and posting that, is there someone who's ready to give me a referral at Google, all that. So at least out of this, what you have to first do is, you have to sort these things in the latest to oldest order. Now the latest thread is on the top. Now scroll through the thread one by one, and you will see the thread with comments. Open the comment section. in the comment section, here is the golden thing. People would be telling, hey, DM me for referral. Okay, so basically this person is going to be working at Google as well. What you can do is click on that specific person, send them a DM stating that, hey, I've basically looked at your profile. Looks like you are open to give me a referral. So could you please help me with a referral? And here is my job description. Here is the job ID that I'm looking for. Here is the my resume. If you find it really good, please respond back. So there is a very high chance, since the post was the latest post, that this person is very actively giving referrals. Okay, there is a high chance that this person would do. So this is the same process that you have to do to get referral with any companies, and that's not at all very hard. Before many people get to know about this one, start using this platform, get referrals, prepare for interviews, and get into top companies. I'll put up all the screenshots of the referrals that I have got only with the help of FishBowl alone. Okay, so that is about the application FishBowl. Next, so there are other platforms which I would call, I have not received any interview calls, but still it's good to have your profile there. So there are platforms like Jobs for You, then Shine, Indeed, and Cut Shots. Out of them, I felt Cut Shots is little better because I got few opportunities there. It's good that you go upload your resumes, just open these applications every day just once so that the profile remains active. And most of the times the calls that I have got from these from these platforms weren't very authentic, because be careful, there are a lot of scams going around. People would be asking for money. Never ever pay any rupee to be get interviewed. Okay, that is the thing. You just have a profile and keep it active in these platforms. You might hear an interview call. So that is the thing with these platforms. The platforms are Cut Shots, Indeed, Shine. Now let's talk about the company portals itself. So instead of discussing about each and every different company's portal, I would want to classify it based on the different portals that I have basically looked at. Okay, so in the past 3 months while I was actually applying for different companies, two things that I came across very frequently is that the first one is Workday, and the second one is Eightfold.a. So with Eightfold.a, whatever the companies that they have integrated this Eightfold.a as a job career portal, you can use this Deedy CV resume and still get an interview. I see this Deedy CV resume is performing better in this company portals where Eightfold.a is integrated. And one more thing with Workday is, whenever you're applying with Workday, you can use any of these resumes. I would suggest you to use the third template, which is general, where you are actually having prepared it for two different roles. So upload that resume there. In the cover section, don't make it very long. Just mention your last working day is this, and your past experience, your skill sets, and you can join in just 2 weeks time. Okay, these are all the things that you have to do. There is a very high chance, even though you are applying in the company portals, that you are going to get an interview call, because you are in a notice period, right? I personally applied on lots and lots of companies on their job platforms, but ended up not at all getting any interview calls before being on notice period. But after notice period, it was a totally different story, because I started hearing up from lots and lots of interview companies as well. So thank you for watching this whole video. I believe this all tactics and tips that I have mentioned in this video, especially on getting a referral, are going to help you a lot. And there are many more things that I have learned during this process. But the thing is, I can't put everything and condense everything into one video, because it would be very long for you to basically watch. So what I have decided is I will post them one by one on this channel. So please subscribe to this channel. And also, if you want me to teach some kind of subjects like computer networks, operating systems, or database management systems, for you to be better at them, I would suggest you to put them in the comment box. I will prepare them along with the notes and everything for you to become prepared for the interview as well. Okay, so please subscribe to my channel. All the best for your job switch journey.